Hey guys, it's Ali, and in this video I want to show you the LinkedIn profile that got me a SpaceX interview without applying. And what I mean by that is I had a message on LinkedIn, I think around a year ago, by a recruiter who was basically saying, hey, I came across your profile, it looks great, would you like to see if you're a good fit for our team? And at the time I think it was like a RF and microwave team, and I basically said yes, even though at the time my initial goal was to go to NASA. I had basically been dreaming about going to NASA for a postdoc for about 3 or 4 years. And my goal was to work on this very cool astronomy mission because it also involved going to Antarctica for a trip. For you guys who know me from this channel, I love traveling and exploring the world. I've been to 33 countries, and going to Antarctica on a NASA mission would be absolutely crazy. However, I was still open at the time, and I said, yes, I'm down to talk to the SpaceX RF engineer team. And I made it through the first phone interview, and I made it through the second phone interview, and they invited me to an on-site interview in the SpaceX Hawthorne facility. And it was a really, really cool day. I think it was like a 6-7 hour, very, very intense interview. Inevitably ended up not being really a good fit because I wanted to focus on systems engineering, and they really wanted to hire someone who was like more willing to work on like a single component and take like complete ownership of that one component. So ended up working out because later I did get my dream postdoc at NASA JPL, which is where I work right now, and I am going to Antarctica in 9 months. But the goal of this video is to show you how you can build a LinkedIn profile in such way and organize it in such way, and the type of experiences you can achieve such that you can attract recruiters to your profile. That not only do you have to apply, you literally have people hitting you up. And imagine how good of a problem that is, in that like people reach out to you and you're like, oh, I already have a job, I already have internships, like I don't need more offers from recruiters. That's the position I would like for you to be in. Now, having a nice LinkedIn profile is not just the full story. Obviously, in order to have a nice LinkedIn profile or resume, you need to have something to put on it. All LinkedIn is really doing is it's showcasing what you're able to achieve. So let's go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So basically, this is what my page looks like. I have a picture and I have some really cool background, shows where I work and where I went to school, and then the title. And I have a website in here. And a lot of people ask me, should you have a website? Should you not have a website? I think it's irrelevant. I mean, if you have some free time and you would like to put together a website yourself, sure. I think mine like is very, very simple. It looks, so like if you click on it, it looks something like this. And here I talk about a book that I wrote for electrical engineering students, my research experience, my actual resume, a link to my YouTube channel, and some of my ideas. I think this is actually completely unnecessary. You do not need a website, but if you have one and you put it in there, it's not gonna hurt. Instead, I would leverage this LinkedIn link place to have somewhere that links to your resume directly. I think that would be really, really smart. One thing I really like doing is I make posts. And for example, in this case, this is a post I wrote that got 7,000 likes on how my SpaceX interview helped me get a job at NASA because of something I learned in the interview. Ended up helping me on the NASA application process, which was really, really cool. So you definitely want to make some kind of post relevant to you. You want to make it useful, helpful, entertaining. Ideally, some type of update. One mistake I see a lot of students make is they say, oh, I got this internship, yay, and like that's it. And like, sure, people will congratulate you and feel really proud of you and all that, but you want to talk about what you're going to be doing on the internship. Maybe add a little bit story of the challenges you had to do to overcome it. For example, when I got my job at NASA, I didn't just say I got a job at NASA, woo. I made a whole post on how something that I learned got me this job and all the things I went through, all the challenges I went through, and as a result, a lot of people resonated with that. Including SpaceX, some SpaceX engineers reached out to me, and I went and got dinner with one of them. So you definitely want to leverage LinkedIn as a networking profile. But more importantly is this part right here, the experience. Second is the education part, and then third is like your skills, publications, courses, projects, whatnot. But most people really are only going to focus mostly on your experience. Your about section should definitely be something that is very, very brief. In my case, I just like, in my case, I'm not really looking for a job because I already have a job and I'm not trying to get another engineering job. So instead, I'm basically using this about section as an opportunity to recruit students who want to help me and work with me on some projects. But if you're someone who's an undergraduate student, you should definitely have your about section saying, hey, like, my name is XYZ and I'm very interested in this subfield and I have experience in XYZ and I'm very open to XYZ opportunities or something like that. You want to make it brief and short. Some people write like a whole biography in there. Nobody has time to read that. Make it sweet, simple, but show like who you are, what you've done. Basically, in a few sentences, who you are, who are you, what have you done, and what can you accomplish, and what type of things are you looking for, so that as a recruiter, I can read it and see if we are a match. Now, okay, let's talk about the experience. Now, obviously, when SpaceX had reached out, at that time, I had not done, I did not have my NASA job, and I had not founded my company yet. But I had this MIT internship, I believe. So basically, what they saw is an MIT internship, an orthoground internship, teaching professor position, another RF internship, a laser comm one, and then 2 previous NASA internships in the electronics domain. So obviously this was a very stacked profile, but this was also very well showcased, because what do I talk about here? So again, they reached out regarding an RF comms position. So here I mentioned that I have a radio frequency internship, and then here I have a laser comm position, and then I show some early cases of also experience in electronics, and then communications. So I made it basically very, very clear that I am basically someone who's very interested in systems engineering. As you can see here, there's systems, but then, and then I think here is advanced satcom systems as well. So from my experience, the recruiter is able to tell, okay, this guy should be able to see things on the top level and connect different components together. But as far as components were going, I made it very clear that I was specializing in like one or two things, which is basically communication and electronics. So basically I have a communication experience in the laser or in other domains as well, and some electronics as well. And this is basically something that I have done. Now I know what you're going to say is, wow, dude, you're so cool. You have like done so many cool internships. I don't have any internships, so there's no way a recruiter is going to reach out to me. Well, actually, this was not my very first like real position, which was like a year and 3 months. This was not an internship. This was what I call an apprenticeship. This is where I worked as a communications lead engineer. This was basically like a club in my university. And we were basically a group of students, undergraduate students, and we were trying to build a CubeSat. And I joined, and I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. I was doing some basic stuff, like, I don't know, do some breadboarding and some soldering in the beginning, some like tech work. And then later some PCB design, printed circuit board, some more electronics. And then later I got really interested in the antennas and the communications, and and the program manager asked me, would you like to be a communications lead? And it was terrifying at the time because I had not had a leadership position and I didn't know that much about communications, but I had the nature of like saying yes and like learn it on the job rather than wait till you're qualified. And guys, this is a very important piece of advice. If an opportunity shows up, say yes and learn it on the job and have that confidence and trust in yourself that you will figure it out, rather than say, no, I'll wait until I'm ready and then I'll jump in. Saying yes to something and signing up for something is the very first thing that's going to motivate you to learn a thing in the first place. So at the time, I only really had these two things, or really mainly this one thing, which is where I learned everything. And this really helped me land my first NASA internship. And now my second NASA internship, I got it as a result of doing some of my research, and then the rest was easy. Your very first internship is going to be the hardest. You definitely want to showcase that. Now, you want to talk a little bit more about what you do. In my case, I like to be very brief, very short. Like I literally have only one sentence for each position showing what I have worked on. So in this case, like here, I'm doing the systems engineering. In my company, I'm designing and building systems. This is my other business, which is basically the YouTube channel you're watching right now is part of this, which is what I call the Dazzling Engineers. This channel is called Ali the Dazzling, and my goal really is to train and inspire the next generation of engineering students. And I'm trying to grow this Discord server of engineering students. So if you're an engineering student, especially if you're electrical engineering or computer science, I will put a link for our Discord. It's free, you can join. And if you want to be engaged with other students and basically grow as an engineering student. And here as well, like in my entire PhD, I talk about my topic. At MIT, I worked on very low frequency antennas. At Northrop, I did laser comms. At TTM Technologies, I did X-band RF circuits. And even though this is only 4 words, like X-band, like technically 3 words, X-band RF circuits, I'm willing to bet this was actually one of the things the recruiter found, because I know at SpaceX they work on X-band RF circuits as well. So again, very simple, very straight to the point. Now again, if you don't have a lot of experience, like you definitely want to find some type of project and put a position for involving that project as well. You want to list your education, obviously, so people can understand where you are. In my case, I've listed my bachelor's, master's, and this was a study abroad program. My PhD at the time, I had not graduated yet. I then I listed this license, certificate, some of the projects I worked on. So there's another thing that's very beautiful about my profile. It tells a really nice story about someone who really loves working on system level. Because if you look at over here, these are all communications projects more or less. And if you have studied communications, you know it exists on a spectrum. And in my case, I've worked on literally like every single frequency band you can imagine. So I've worked on laser stuff. I've worked on millimeter wave. I've worked on VHF, UHF, hundreds of megahertz communication systems. I've worked on very low frequencies, 30 kilohertz. I've worked on 295 gigahertz. That's basically borderline terahertz. I've even done 1 terahertz pre-equalization. I've also done 1 gigahertz patch antenna, and 2 gigahertz up to 8 gigahertz, 2.4. This case, this is S-band. So definitely in your projects, try to show all the things that you have done. So again, this is the resume or the LinkedIn profile of someone who has clearly done a lot of things. Now, you can't really bullshit this stuff because obviously on the interview, they're gonna ask you what have you worked on. So I would definitely only recommend you put stuff that you've actually worked on. But the motivation should be that to have a stacked profile, go and do stacked things. Go and work on some things. If you can't get an internship, work on a project. If you can't find a project in your school or can't join a club, find something online. Find other students to work with. Again, join our Discord. Find other people in there and say, hey guys, I want to work on a project. Who wants to work on a project? Who wants to meet on Zoom once a week and work on a project? And see who says yes, because without doing these projects, you're not gonna have any experience to get an internship, and without an internship, you're gonna have a hard time getting a job. And guys, there's a harsh truth about engineering. Your degree, the classes that you take, it's kind of it helps you, it teaches you a theory, and it teaches you a little bit of what you've got to do, but you have no real world experience. How do you get real world experience? You work on things, you build things. So your project section should definitely be very, very important. And then finally, if you have honors and awards, you should definitely list them. In my case, I just list a few awards. One of them, which I got at NASA. Obviously, this is probably a big deal, but I think most people don't really care about awards. What they care about is your experience. Obviously, put your languages you're able to speak. In my case, I speak 3 languages: Arabic, English, and Spanish. I speak a little bit of Galician, also known as Gallego. It's because I lived in Galicia for a while when I was in Spain. I lived with a Galician family, so I learned a little bit over there. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, keep it very simple, keep it very clean, be very brief. Maybe have a link to your resume and be more engaged. And then don't be afraid to reach out. If you find someone sharing something who works at SpaceX or Tesla or NASA or whatnot, or Blue Origin, send them a message and just say, hey, my name is XYZ. I saw your profile. I saw you're working at XYZ. I have this experience. I'm looking for this type of thing. Do you think there's anyone at Tesla, SpaceX, wherever you're talking to, there's position? Are there internship opportunities? Please let me know. Keep it as brief as possible and make it as easy for someone to help you as possible, because everyone's busy. And if you send people a very, very long paragraph or a very, very long email, they're gonna be a lot less likely to reply, and you're just gonna overwhelm them. So yeah, with that being said, I just wanted to showcase something really, really cool. Again, huge shout out to SpaceX, the recruiter, and the engineers that I talked to. That was a really, really cool experience. Huge shout out to NASA JPL for offering me a really cool job. Being able to work on an astronomy telescope and go to Antarctica is just crazy. And huge shout out to MIT, Northrop Grumman, TTM Technologies, Xavier, all the and the UB Nanosat Lab, all the companies or groups that I've worked with before that have helped me get these positions. But again, in summary, your LinkedIn profile is just the array of your experiences. So if you want a nice LinkedIn profile that gets jobs, internships, and recruiters to send you messages without you even applying, go and be as good as you can. Go and be as skilled as you can. When I was an undergrad, I was basically going to classes and basically working 40 hours a week simultaneously. My entire undergraduate, I went to one party in my freshman year, the very first week or second week. And since then, like every single Friday night, Saturday night, I was working on projects. Now, this sounds brutal, but it was not. It was actually a lot of fun because I had found other people, friends of mine at the time, who we did projects together. Sometimes it was brutal, sometimes I was doing things on my own, and sometimes it was very lonely and very, very painful. But majority of the time, it turned out to be not bad. I mean, just have the mindset of the world is competitive, and that's okay. That just means I need to be so much better. I need to be ahead of 99% of people, and that's just the dark truth. Which you're in luck because I made a video on how to get ahead of 99% of students and all the things I did to get ahead of 99% students. So you should go ahead and watch it, and that should help you get halfway there. See ya there. Peace, love.